Welcome to Stuff and Whiskey. I'm Josh.
And I'm Erin.
And we're back with another totally blind head-to-head where we react to the pours and the price before we find out what we're drinking.
If it's available, is it worth the money?
If it's hard to find, is it worth the hype and the hunt?
Stay tuned to find out. Welcome to the channel, bringing a real-world perspective to the real-world whiskey consumer.
We are not professional whiskey tasters, but we will randomly select one of these matchups and taste them totally blind so that you get our completely honest opinions separate and apart from any labels or bias. You'll see what we think about each pour, and in the end, we'll give each pour what we call a real-world score, which is based on the blind tasting, the price and the availability, and whether we would buy it again or not.
If that sounds like your bag, then don't forget to subscribe so you can keep seeing videos like this.
Yep, we come out with these blind head-to-heads every Thursday here on the channel. And if you like blind head-to-heads and blind tastings like this, be sure to check the video description below for our Patreon link as well. We do blind flight nights over there where you can get a blind flight night and hop on a private live stream with us and do it together with the community. It's also our community element online. And we have a lot of other fun stuff over there, including 2 additional episodes every week. Everything here on the channel is blind for the most part, but over on the Patreon, we can take requests. If we get new bottles in that are exciting, we can do quick, timely reviews over there. It's a ton of fun, so check that out in the video description below. All right, let's run our randomizer and see which one of these 18 pairs we are tasting today.
Number 15.
Number 15, so 18, 17, 16, 15. Cool. We'll get these poured and we'll be back with our first impressions on glass 1. All right, let's get into glass 1.
All right.
Cheers.
Cheers. Okay.
Smells like bourbon.
Smells like bourbon.
Fruity sweet.
It's good though. I wasn't blown away by like alcohol, like ethanol smell, which is nice.
It doesn't smell super high proof. It smells very balanced. Very classic caramel, apple, vanilla, oak, very rounded bourbon profile on the nose.
Yeah.
Let's get into the taste.
All right. Tastes pretty well-rounded. Solid, classic bourbon flavors. Kind of tastes a little sharp. Like,
I think it might be rye spice that we're getting.
Maybe.
I'm wondering if this isn't like a low rye percentage rye.
You mean bourbon? The low rye bourbon?
No, I think it might be a rye, like a 51%
low rye.
rye. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
It could be a bourbon, but it's not coming across like a strong rye, but it is coming across with a lot of those typical bourbon flavors.
But there's a spice there.
Yeah. I will say it's fruit forward. I'm getting a very fruit forward flavor profile on it with like a lot of appley sweetness to it. And then there's just the spice that comes in right on the back end of that. That's really good. And there's kind of like this faint vanilla oak backbone running underneath all that. That's really enjoyable. That's a really rounded, good pour. Like, I kind of categorize pours in my brain, and I wouldn't necessarily put that in easy sipping because it's a little bit more than somebody that wants smooth, easy sipping.
Yeah, I agree.
But boy, it is just a super enjoyable pour.
Yeah.
Let's get into glass 2.
This smells different.
I'm not getting as much on the nose here.
I got like a cardboard smell.
Cardboard, interesting. I'm getting a little bit of earthiness here. Everything that was super sweet and forward about glass 1, it's kind of here too in glass 2 for me, but it's dialed back and there's an earthiness that's mixed in. Interesting. Let's get into the palate.
I feel like this is a little more sweet and less spicy.
This just across the board has less flavor to me than glass 1. Everything, it's like if glass 1 on a 1 to 10 scale, if all the knobs are kind of sitting at like a 7, this is like dialed back to a 5. Everything is just muted down compared to glass 1. It'll be interesting to see if that sticks when we spend more time with them. One more sip on glass 2.
I agree. After taking a sip of water and then drinking this again, I do feel like there's a little more flavor, but it's still not quite as strong in flavor as glass 1 for me.
Yeah. I don't know if that's just a difference in the 2 products or if there's maybe a slight proof difference that's coming across, but this is good. It has sweetness up front. It has spice in the middle. It might have as much oak as glass 1 on the back end because the finish is lingering with like an oak spice right on the back of my tongue. But
not as much for me, but a little bit.
But glass 1 is just across the board, just kind of a step up. It feels like right now. It, like I said, it'll be interesting to see when we take some time with these, clear our palates out, start with the second glass, and go back and forth.
Yep.
We'll be right back with that after this. After spending some time with both of these pours, what do you think? Let's start with glass one.
All right. So glass one is a solid thumbs up on nose, thumbs up on flavor, and thumbs up on experience. I thought it was well-rounded, easy to drink, but had flavor, and it smelled good. So
Yeah.
thumbs up.
So glass one for me is a thumbs up on the nose. It is classic bourbon, and I mean that in a extremely complimentary way. It's your vanillas, your caramels, your apple, your oak. Great nose, and then all that stuff comes over to the flavors, and it's a thumbs up there as well. This mid-palate spice gets introduced. It kind of like ramps up right in the middle of the palate,
Yeah,
just
it
a couple
does.
seconds. Like the sweetness hits, and then the spice hits in like stage 2. It's awesome. I love it. I would love it to be more concentrated in flavor.
Yeah.
If it were ramped up even more in flavor, I'd probably give it 2 thumbs up. But at its proof point, it's a thumbs up strongly for me. And then on experience, thumbs up firmly. I said it was a great flavorful pour. It was decently oily. It had the better finish of the two. And that barrel spice that just sits there on the back of the tongue, it just lasts. It lasts for quite a while.
It does. It lasts for a hot minute.
Yeah. I think glass one is your glass if you're more like you want that flavorful pour. Glass two, I also like for different reasons.
Okay.
Let's get into that. You go first.
Okay.
Where you at on glass two?
So I think for me, glass two was at a disadvantage being the second glass because I compared it to the first glass. So it got just okay on nose, just okay on flavor, and just okay on experience.
Wow.
Overall, it was like a little weaker. I smelled more of the ethanol in the nose. It was a little weaker in flavor. And then the experience just wasn't as good because it was kind of meh.
Yeah.
Like, it was just okay.
Yeah. Well, coming off of glass one and even comparing the two side by side, glass one is definitely more in our personal wheelhouse.
Yeah.
With that said, I kind of slot glass two into the easy sipper category.
Yeah, it's definitely
whereas,
more easy to sip because it's not as spicy.
Yeah. And for that, for glass two, I give it a thumbs up on the nose. As I spent more time with it, it is just straight up maple syrup. Like that's all I can get on the nose.
I just get ethanol.
It's
like
all maple syrup. And then on the flavors, I gave it a thumbs up as well because that maple syrup carried over, that maple syrupy sweetness. And then right on the back end of that came like a cherry cola note that just hung out for a while.
I'm not getting any of that.
I really liked the flavors on glass two as well. And then on the experience, I gave it a thumbs up. I almost went just okay, but it's definitely an easy sipper. And for that, it is good. I do enjoy it for that. I said it was decently oily as well. It was every bit as oily as the first glass, which was kind of interesting to me because it is so much lighter in so many other ways, but it is very viscous. And then I said it had a faint but lingering finish of oak and barrel spice, but
I can get the cherry cola. When you say it and I drink it, I can get it, but I didn't get that initially.
yeah, but between these two, I had a vast preference for glass one. It's just more in mine and our wheelhouse.
Yeah.
So I cannot wait to find out what these are. I'm super happy with both of these pours. I would very much like to have both of these in our bar here at home, and I would grab them on different days for different reasons.
Okay.
But let's find out what they are. We're going to find out how much these cost first, then find out what we've been drinking.
Okay.
So our preference was glass one. Let's go into glass two and find out what that is. So glass two is number 34 and glass one is number 33.
Okay.
So the price on glass two, number 34.
About $50.
Okay. I'm not, I would love it at 40. I'm not super loving it at 50 because it's an easy sipper. It's not my preferred category. What's the price on glass one?
$60.
Okay. I'm pretty happy with this at $60.
Yeah, I am too.
I'm not mad at either one of these for that price.
Yeah. I probably wouldn't buy this one for $50.
Yeah.
Because there's other things for $50 I'd like better, but for $60, glass one seems like a pretty good price.
Okay. We'll get into that here in a second. Let's find out what they are first. So glass two.
Four Roses single barrel. 100 proof.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that cherry cola note makes sense. This particular one that we have, I get a really cherry cola note on. Yeah,
Okay.
I really like it as an easy sipper.
Okay.
What's glass 1?
Four Roses Small Batch Select. 104 proof. They're the same family.
Really?
Yeah. Is this the one that we had the other night?
Yeah.
And I
it's
liked
so funny.
it. I liked it then too.
So yeah, you did, and this was funny because when I first tasted this, I was like, I don't know, this might be a rye.
Yeah,
Four
you said
Roses,
that.
Four Roses Small Batch Select comes across to me like a very rye forward, high rye bourbon. But the more time I spent with it, boy, the more it just got well-rounded.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm actually really surprised at this because I had very conflicted feelings on this Small Batch Select bottle. When we first opened it, I didn't love it. And then I did love it. And then I didn't love it.
Yeah.
And then we just put it in some head-to-heads and, we sampled it out and we put it in cocktails. And it works great for cocktails.
Yeah.
But $60 is a lot for a cocktail whiskey.
Yep.
And I wasn't convinced we were going to get it again. Like we were going to buy it.
Yeah.
But it really impressed tonight. And then 2 nights ago,
we had it.
We were having this and finishing off the bottle. And it really impressed then as well. So you know what? I think I'm a converted Four Roses Small Batch Select fan.
And there we have it.
Who would have knew? Okay, so let's get into our consumer metrics, our real world metrics here of price, availability, and whether we buy it again or not. So our retail metric is the price and the availability, and then our consumer metric is, as consumers, would we buy it again or not? So Four Roses Small Batch Select, $60 in our market, readily available everywhere, and it should be almost nationwide, readily available in almost every market. If it's not yet, it's going to be. They have plans for super wide distribution on this bottle. Okay, cool. So where are you at for glass 1?
So for glass 1, I'm giving it 2 thumbs up on retail score for $60 and readily available. It's a heck yes for me. So that gets 2 thumbs up.
And then would you buy it again or not?
2 thumbs up, I would.
Yeah, you liked it that much?
We're going to, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Okay, good, cool.
For sure. So glass 1, Four Roses Small Batch Select for me, 2 thumbs up on retail.
Yeah.
I mean, the price is pushing the top limit of what I want out of this glass. Yeah. But, and that's kind of comparing it to other bottles that are available for $50 or $60. But with that said, to be able to get this well-rounded of a profile and this enjoyable of a pour, this flavorful of a pour at an approachable proof point, but still big flavor, there's not a ton that I can think of that really measures up. So 2 thumbs up on retail. And then would I buy it again or not? 2 thumbs up. I'm going to absolutely buy this again. When our bottle's done, which like we said, we just finished it, I'm going to go buy another one immediately. I do not want to be without this bottle. With that said, let's move on to Four Roses Single Barrel. Okay. Obviously, as we say, single barrel roulette. This probably isn't the best single barrel. It's also probably not the worst. Right. It's probably going to fall somewhere in the middle of the range, but also super readily available. Right. $50 in our market. Where you at? Yeah, I mean, it gets a thumbs up. It's a good price, and if you get a different single barrel, it might be better than this. So it might be worse, but it might be better. So it gets a thumbs up. Like, that's a good price. Yeah. And then would you buy it again or not? Yeah, it gets a thumbs up. I wouldn't rush out to buy it. I'm not going to stand in lines to buy it or be inconvenienced to buy it, but I would buy it at that price. It's decent. Yeah. For me, these actually scored the exact same. So it gets 2 thumbs up on retail score because we would absolutely, I think it's a great price and the availability is great. It's a good price, but for me, I'd rather have other $50 bottles. But when I want an easy sipper, this to me replaces Buffalo Trace, E.H. Taylor Small Batch, Elijah Craig Small Batch. It replaces everything in the 100 and under proof category for ease of finding. And I love seeing how the single barrels vary over time. Yeah. And then would I buy it again or not? Thumbs up. I'll absolutely buy it again. I do prefer glass 1 tonight, but there are some nights, more often than not, I prefer glass 1, but there are some nights when I want this a little bit more simple, sweet, profile in glass 2.
Sure, so, if you say so.
Yeah.
We get our real world scores by adding up the thumbs you see on the screen.
There are 10 possible points, but this ain't your grandpa's scoring system.
It's more like a bell curve.
Exactly. So everything tends to fall blind in the bulk of that middle of the bell curve. We're looking for the products that really impress us, that deliver in some way to push it outside of that middle.
Yep.
With that said, let's get into glass 1, Four Roses Small Batch Select. Where you at?
So it got a 7 out of 10.
Wow, that's a very high score for you.
I think I was just pleasantly surprised. It was well-rounded, drank really nicely. Like, I just liked it a lot.
Yeah.
Everything about it.
Yeah, for me, it's going to get a 6 out of 10. Really enjoyable pour. Let's go into glass 2, Four Roses Single Barrel. Where are you at on real world score?
It got a 4.5. Which
wow.
isn't bad if you think about it.
It's not.
In the middle of the bell curve, which a lot of things. I mean, I think some of my favorite whiskeys have gotten kind of in the middle, like New Riff has gotten in the middle of that bell curve, which is a solid pour.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, thumbs up across the board is a 5.
Yeah.
It takes something special to push above thumbs up in any category.
Yeah.
And it just so happens that glass 1 did that for you, glass 2 didn't. And I think that's fair. I think that's a fair assessment on Four Roses Single Barrel. It's a good across the board, but it's not really great at anything other than being available. But it's $50. So for me, it gets a thumbs up, or what am I talking about?
Real
for me, it's we're on real world.
Total, dude.
It gets a 6. It, like I said, it gets the same score as glass 1 because I would reach for them on different occasions, which is a great point to transition into who are these for, because I do think these are for different people. So let's get into that right now. I think Four Roses Small Batch Select is going to be for somebody who wants a very flavorful pour that is going to be able to deal with that extra barrel spice that you get,
but not super high proof.
Right.
You get it's a decent proof point, but it's not low proof, it's not high proof, it's very middle proofy.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Middle proofy.
It's middle proof.
That's a term, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think that this to me could be just my baseline pour. At $60, it's a little expensive for that, but man, it is so enjoyable.
Oh.
Whereas Four Roses Single Barrel is, as we've said, more simplistic, a little bit more just like sweet and oak, and there is some spice there.
It could be considered an easy sipper, I would feel like.
Yeah, and different single barrels are going to be different. We have had single barrels. We've had quite a few single barrels of this. Some are very fruit forward. Others are more oaky. So you're going to get a little bit of variance in there.
Yeah.
But like I said, I think this to me is a replacement for all your 90 proof sippers, like your Elijah Craig Small Batch, your Buffalo Trace, all those, even like a lot of the bottled and bond stuff that's like $30. I'd rather just spend a little bit more personally and get a Four Roses Single Barrel because I like the flavor profile and I like having the single barrel experience. Okay. It's fun. But if you want,
I don't know if I would say that. I need to try them all back to back to know.
Yeah. Okay, we're doing a massive blind tasting now.
Yeah.
No, just kidding. But yeah, I think these are for two different people. If you try Four Roses Single Barrel and you really like it, I do think it is worth grabbing a Four Roses Small Batch Select.
Try it
because they aren't super dissimilar. You know, they're different experiences, but it's Four Roses. You know, that flavor, the backbone of the flavor profile is definitely there across both pours. They just crafted differently. Again, like, comment, subscribe. If you like these videos, they come out every Thursday. That's it for this week, guys. Till next week.
Cheers.
Let's film us some whiskey videos.
Okay. Oh gosh. Could have ended very poorly. Welcome to Stuff and Whiskey. I'm Josh. I'm Aaron.
And we're breaking glasses. A delicacy was you take Eggos and you do fried bologna in the middle. It's so good. Butter and syrup.
Bologna in general is just...
Oh, you know what? I'm not just eating bologna sandwiches anymore. But when I was a kid, I tore them up.
I know you did.
But a piece of bologna in the middle of two Eggos. Oh, man. I'm telling you what. Drenched in butter and syrup. It's so good. It's like sweet and savory.
Because you had the worst eating habits when you were a kid.
No, I was eating that into my like mid-20s.
Well, because you started when you were a kid.
Oh, it's so good. I want some Eggos now. Would you try a bite?
I don't like bologna.
Would you try a piece of fried bologna in Eggos? I'm not asking you to eat it by itself. I'm asking you to eat it with.
I don't like bologna.
It's a flat hot dog.
I don't like bologna.
Okay. Live a little.
I don't like bologna.
All right. More for me. All right, ready?
I'm not eating it at all.